This video is brought to you by Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming. You trust them with your most precious assets, and now with the new Platinum Package 4.0, you can trust them with the whole shebang. Visit manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the offer code SKILLUP. Click below or stick around to the end of the video to learn more. Gamers, not much to talk about this week. Pretty quiet, not a whole lot happened. It was pretty quiet. So you may as well just like and subscribe, click off, and I'll see you all next week. Breaking news, GTA 6 has leaked. I repeat, it has leaked. The president has been alerted and the internet has been moved to DEFCON 4. All social media platforms have been disabled to stop the spread of leaks. Kojima has been placed in a special protective bunker. Because if this hacker can get to Rockstar, then they can get to anyone. And I don't want to be taking any chances with my boy. That's right, nerds. One of the greatest leaks in the history of this leaky industry unfolded this week when a hacker managed to infiltrate Rockstar's security and score himself a few shark cards worth of stolen hacker shit, including but not limited to 90 separate videos showing GTA 6 gameplay, some of the GTA 6 source code and potentially more of it, and potentially source code for GTA 5 and 4, though that hasn't been confirmed. By the way, I of course can't show you any of the leaked material, so please enjoy this random assortment of GTA 5 B-roll courtesy of the Long Play Archive. God bless you, Long Play Archive. It is believed that this hacker is the same one who hacked Uber last week, and similar to that hack, he seems to have found a way in through a phishing scam facilitated by Slack, which is essentially Discord for tech companies, which means you can post memes in there if you're okay with HR seeing those memes and adding them to your employee file so they can bring them up later in your performance review. There was some doubt about the authenticity of this leak for a while until Jason Schreier of Bloomberg tweeted out confirmation saying that he'd spoken to a number of Rockstar sources who all confirmed its authenticity. What hasn't been confirmed yet is exactly how old this footage is. Rockstar did call it early development footage, and I've definitely seen it said this footage was at least a year old, but I haven't seen confirmation of that anywhere. Regardless, I don't think we can glean anything from this gameplay about how near or how far a release date might be, since the game is so massive and so ambitious that only Rockstar themselves can tell us when this thing is coming out. The leaks do seem to confirm some previously reported details, namely that this is set in Vice City and it's led by two protagonists, a Bonnie and Clyde crime duo, marking the first time since GTA 2 that the series has had a female lead. Outside of that, the footage just confirms that this is another GTA game, a point I'll come back to soon. What's interesting is the hacker, who goes by the name of Teapot Uber Hacker, or Tipo Tuber Hacker if you want to get creative. He seems to be a bit disconnected from the gaming zeitgeist, because when he woke up the next day after leaking all of this shit, he commented that it had gone unexpectedly viral. It's like, dude, you just leaked the first look at pretty much the most anticipated game ever, the follow-up to the single most profitable piece of media of all time, and you didn't expect it to go viral? Who are you? Do you live under a rock? Are you from some weird Amish hacking community where they taught you how to break the internet but warned you that Pokemon was the devil's work? Unsurprisingly, this guy has like an IRL 15-star wanted rating at this point, and the word is that Rockstar have actually found out who he is, so I hope he's found a nice cave to hide out in for the rest of his life, because chances are any location that has electricity and running water, it's not going to be a remote enough hidey hole. This dude's going to have to hide out in the mountains of Pakistan with ISIS, and even they're going to be like, nah man, we don't want to mess with Rockstar. We can handle the US military, but have you seen Take-Two's lawyers? They got no chill. You better go. What's even more funny about this extortion attempt is that someone actually fronted the cash, except they didn't send it to the hacker, they sent it to some other person who was pretending to be the hacker. So the old Nigerian prince email scam is out the door. Now, if you want to scam someone, you just tell them that a distant relative left you the GTA 5 source code in their will and you need help selling it. That's an easy 100K. You are welcome. In the last day or two, things have chilled out a little bit, and so Rockstar took the time to provide an update. Quote, "We recently suffered a network intrusion in which an unauthorized third party illegally accessed and downloaded confidential information from our systems, including early development footage for the next Grand Theft Auto. At this time, we do not anticipate any disruption to our live game services or any long-term effect on the development of our ongoing projects. We are extremely disappointed to have any details of our next game shared with you all in this way. Our work on the next Grand Theft Auto game will continue as planned, and we remain as committed as ever to delivering an experience to you, our players, that truly exceeds your expectations. We will update everyone again soon, and of course, we'll properly introduce you to this next game when it is ready. We want to thank everyone for their ongoing support through this situation. the Rockstar Games team. The principal sentence in all of that is that they don't anticipate that this will have any long-term effect on the development of GTA 6. There was a lot of concern with this leak, particularly the source code, that the game itself might be delayed, as famously happened with Half-Life 2 many years ago. Not so according to Rockstar, but given the fact that they've not yet announced a planned release date or even a release window, we'll never really know for sure. The leak was met with an outpouring of affection and support for Rockstar's developers, and I echo that. I speak to many developers who take great pride in their work. Overworked and underpaid, one of the things they look forward to the most is the satisfaction that comes when their work is finally revealed, and leaks do take the edge off that. Similarly, Jason Schreier did point out that this leak may result in changed working conditions for Rockstar employees, tighter security, less working from home flexibility, etc. That sucks, and hopefully Rockstar's management can find a way to address this security loophole without negatively affecting the way people work. Real talk though, unless additional information leaks in the subsequent days, weeks, or months, I don't think these leaks are actually that big a deal. Yes, there have been plenty of brain-dead takes during the rounds about how this looks unfinished, and it's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, welcome to game dev. All of that noise will dissipate if the final product is revealed and is anything close to the level of quality achieved by the likes of Red Dead Redemption 2. But what did these leaks really spoil? That it's a game about doing crimes in an open world, and you have guns, and you can drive cars? That's really it. I mean, the fucking Last of Us Part 2 leak, that was a serious leak that not only spoiled one of the most pivotal moments in the game, but also completely corrupted the narrative surrounding that game permanently. The Half-Life 2 leak literally led to the game being delayed by over a year. I don't think that this leak has anything on those leaks, at least not yet. As I said, that could change based on future stuff. We saw some GTA 6, it looks like a GTA game, we really don't know much more than we did last week. The biggest news story here isn't what these leaks contained, but that they were leaked at all, and I think that kind of says how inconsequential the contents of this leak are. Alright, so that's GTA 6. What else happened this week? Well, you won't believe it, but that wasn't the only major leak this week. Approximately 50 minutes of Diablo 4 footage leaked from the closed friends and family test. Again, I can't share it with you, but it appears as though someone was streaming it on Discord, and then one of the people watching it started streaming it to someone else, and it all just cascaded from there. It doesn't give away a huge amount, to be honest, at least not from what I saw. It's Diablo 4. We've seen a bunch of gameplay to this point, and I think it's looking pretty cool even in this unfinished state, and it'll be out sometime next year. So outside of leaks, what else is going on? Well, I know it seems like a million years ago after this week, but the Tokyo Game Show was this weekend, or last weekend. God, the flow of time is really fucked, isn't it? But yes, it happened this past weekend, and while we covered our fair share of showcases either attached or adjacent to that event, there were two that we missed. The first was the RGG Showcase, giving us a look at in-progress, recently announced and unannounced RGG titles, and the good news is that RGG fans are eating super well for the next few years. They had earlier revealed Like a Dragon Ishin during the PlayStation Showcase, but here we got more of a look at the game and some interesting tidbits on it, like for example, there's no English dub. That's okay, we can all live without that. Furthermore, RGG say that the success of Ghost of Tsushima was the main catalyst for them to greenlight the Western release of the title. RGG studio boss Masayoshi Yokohama was speaking to Fanbyte Media when he said, quote, "We saw how well Ghost of Tsushima did and how it was about this very Japanese setting made by Americans, so it gave us the confidence Ishin could do well in America too," end quote. I love that. They were like, well, if Americans can pull this off, I guess we can too. Perfect. That wasn't all the showcase had to offer though. Like a Dragon 8 was revealed and it was full of surprises. The first is that the game will be called Like a Dragon 8 in the West instead of Yakuza. This is what the series has always been called in Japan, and Sega confirmed that this name change is intended to align everything globally. The bigger, more exciting surprise is that Kiryu is back. The protagonist from the first 6+ games makes his return to the series, but he's not pushing out the newly arrived Ichiban. They'll in fact both be protagonists, and I guess you'll switch between them throughout various chapters. Kind of a nice twist, actually. If it's even more Kiryu that you want, then Sega's got you covered, because in addition to announcing his return in Like a Dragon, they also announced a new standalone title called Like a Dragon: The Man Who Erased His Name. The game is apparently a smaller title in scope, but will serve as a bridge between the previous games and Like a Dragon 8, no doubt explaining why the Dragon of Dojima is now sporting a Devil May Cry haircut. The game is shipping sometime next year and has been confirmed for all platforms bar the Switch, because apparently RGG don't want to put their games on Switch because they think that the Switch has a family brand, and RGG feels like they're these sort of underground nightwalkers. For real, they said this, go look it up, it's really cool, link below the like button. The final surprise came right out of left field, kind of like, here's Johnny. a joke that will make sense very soon. Judgment and Lost Judgment are now, very now, available on PC. The detective-themed Yakuza spin-offs were locked in an awkward rights battle with the talent agency representing the lead character. That agency? Johnny. Apparently they didn't want the title to come to PCs because reasons. The theory was that they were worried about sex mods or some shit, I don't know. Either way, people had essentially written off any hopes of these games arriving on PC, to the point where people wondered if the franchise would end or if the leading man would be replaced. Turns out that that won't be necessary, and that not only can these games come to PC, but they have. They're on Steam right now, so go and grab them if you're keen. Capcom did have a showcase, but there wasn't too much to show unless you're a Street Fighter fan, in which case there was a shit ton to show. Take a look.
In game fight! Rising uppercut! Spinning bird kick! Gotcha!
This trailer was bursting with information, showing off the single-player campaign mode that allows you to create your own character and roam the streets beating the shit out of people. Love it. It showed off a bunch of returning characters like Ken, Dalsim, Blanca, and E Honda. Finally, it showed off the Battle Hub area, which kind of looks like a metaverse if it were based on cool Street Fighter battles and not shitty NFTs and other related scams. I am not a fighting dude, but goddamn does this look like an awesome package, and I will give this a go. I'm not going to grind the online circuit, but I think this looks like just too much fun to miss, so I'll take what enjoyment I can from it, and then go back to playing Destiny. Yeah. The only other showcase to tick off was Xboxes, because they had one, apparently. Now look, this was not a great showcase. As they say, this meeting could have been an email, but I'm glad that they hosted it because more than anything else, it was Phil and his team signaling clearly that they take Japan seriously. It was a statement of intent that Xbox views Japan as both an integral market and an integral part of their overall strategy. And to underscore that point, they announced a Japanese Overwatch character there. Kariko is a new support character and will join the game when Overwatch 2 launches in October. She will be locked behind the free tiers of the new Battle Pass. Not everyone loves that, but this episode is already pretty packed, so let's not dwell on it too much. Outside of that, Pal World got a new trailer. Let's take a look. Still don't believe that that's a real video game that's ever going to release, but I guess we'll find out one day. Exo Primal got a story trailer, and it's looking pretty cool. Take a look.
You need to keep fighting until we can figure out how to destroy the Vibe. It's trying to build stronger exosuits, so it's pulling any exo fighter in their hold back in time to these bloody war games.
I actually went hands-on with this one a little while ago, and I may be doing a preview for it in October, so if you're keen on that, then be sure to subscribe, ding the bell, all that good stuff. Biggest announcement of the showcase? Skyrim. Todd finally found a new platform to port it to, Japan. The Anniversary Edition makes its way to Japan so that they too can now have all of their mods broken. Arigato, Todd. Keep up the good work. Outside of that, it was really just some Game Pass stuff, which we'll come back to in the sort of free stuff block. So yeah, like I said, not a great showing, especially when compared to the Sony or Nintendo showcases earlier. I mean, Phil, you didn't bring a single farming game with you. You completely dropped the ball. That aside, I'm glad that Xbox are planting a flag in Japan. It sounds really bad when you put it that way, but if you remove all historical context and just focus on video games, it is fine. Speaking of Sony, we got an update on the PSVR 2 this week, and it wasn't great. Hands-on impressions for the device were all super positive, but as part of that whole thing, it was confirmed that the PSVR 1 games will not work on the PSVR 2. Sony's senior VP of Platform Experience, Hideaki Nishini, explained it thusly, quote, PlayStation VR games are not compatible with the PlayStation VR 2 because PlayStation VR 2 is designed to be a truly next-gen virtual reality experience. PlayStation VR 2 has much more advanced features like an all-new controller with haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, and as I've said, and inside-out tracking in it, 3D audio is coming together, 4K HDR of course, so this means that making games for PlayStation VR 2 requires a whole different approach than the original PlayStation VR. These features actually enable developers to create worlds that feel more vivid and alive and bring players closer to the experience than ever. I believe that, end quote. Does anyone else immediately think that he doesn't really believe that because he feels the need to say that at the end? Is that just me? Either way, this sounds like, I don't know about this. I mean, most VR games are playable on different VR headsets and across different VR generations. Like, you need a headset that lets you look around and you need some motion controllers, and that's it for most games. For Sony to completely abandon that extensive library of VR back catalog when the new PSVR 2 library is likely to be very anemic at launch, that seems kind of dumb, but I suppose the suits at HQ think it's the right play, We'll find out soon enough if they're right. Bad news for the zero of you out there still playing Babylon's Fall. It's dead. And this time I'm not just talking about the Ghost Town player count. This week, Square Enix officially announced that Babylon's Fall was going to play in that big server farm in the sky with all its friends like Battleborn and Lawbreakers and that Amazon hero shooter that I told Jeff Bezos to put back in beta. And then he just yeeted it from existence, which seems like a bit much, but okay. Babylon's Fall services will run till about the end of February next year, at which point they'll be turned off, and this will just be another failed Platinum project. Far from their first, but hopefully their last. Man, they really need a big win. Bayonetta better deliver big, or this studio is on some shaky ground indeed. And finally, you all been checking out Edgerunners. I'm halfway through it now, and I gotta tell you, it absolutely bangs. God damn, it is so good. To be fair, I haven't watched any anime in a long ass time, so it's kind of nice to be back in the genre, but it's definitely not just that. The writing, the characters, the animation, and the music. Man, the music is awesome stuff, and in many aspects, I think it's doing a better job of selling Cyberpunk than the game ever did. But nonetheless, the game is experiencing the same halo effect that The Witcher did after its Netflix series aired. Cyberpunk's Steam charts player count has exploded recently, topping out at around 85,000 concurrent players at one time. That's for a single-player game, PC only, 2 years after it was released. It is contributing to a general rehabilitation of the game's image, as wave after wave of patches and bug fixes have significantly improved the game's myriad technical issues, and the promise of an expansion sometime next year has got people checking back in. 85% of the reviews from the last 30 days have been positive, so people are liking what they're seeing, and that's good, because despite the bullshit CD Projekt Red pulled here, and despite the bugs and missing features, there's a really special game to find here, and I'm glad people are finding it. By the way, if you're at all interested, this week on the Frames Per Second podcast, we are interviewing the Edgerunners creator and showrunner, this guy in this screenshot, Rafal Jaki. He's coming to hang out with us so we can ask him how he managed to pull this thing off and beg him for a season 2. If you're keen on it, then be sure to subscribe to this channel or subscribe to the Frames Per Second podcast over on your podcast platform of choice. I'll leave a link to all of that below the like button. Alright, a quick lightning round to finish up the news block. Resident Evil 4 Remake is coming to current-gen consoles and the PS4, but not the Xbox One. Capcom didn't explain why that's the case, they just said that's how it is, so yeah, nothing else to say on that, I guess. Speaking of Xbox, Phil Spencer says they haven't given up on Final Fantasy XIV despite the near 3 years of silence on the matter. Phil announced the intention to get the smash hit MMO on the Xbox hardware back in 2019, but hasn't provided any updates since. Phil said it was still a goal of both Square and Xbox, but they don't have any updates at this time. And speaking of Final Fantasy, producer Yoshi P says that Final Fantasy XVI's next trailer will drop sometime in October, so stay tuned. Elden Ring just won Game of the Year award at the Japan Game Awards. I suspect that will not be the only Game of the Year nod that Elden Ring picks up this year. And finally, all future AAA Ubisoft games will be $70 going forward. That was confirmed last week by Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot. When asked if this would mean fewer microtransactions in future Ubisoft games, Guillemot responded with, no. So what got announced or delayed this week? Well, first up, we got official confirmation on the arrival of the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection for PC. This one contains both Uncharted 4 and the Lost Legacy standalone DLC. It'll be the first time that the Uncharted franchise makes its way to PC, and yeah, starting at number 4 is an odd move, but you can blame the PS3 spaghetti code architecture for that. Uncharted 4 and its DLC are probably all we're going to get outside of emulation, so if you're keen, it hits PC on October 19th. A quick update on the Advance Wars remakes, which were due out some time ago but delayed due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. One of the factions in that game is basically Russia, so it makes releasing that title about as awkward as announcing a game called Tears of the Kingdom in the same week that the Queen died. Steven Totillo of Axios spoke to Nintendo, who confirmed that the title was still coming. Nintendo said, quote, "The release has been delayed. We will announce the new date once it has been determined," end quote. Not much to go on, but at least we know it hasn't been cancelled. Sins of a Solar Empire 2 was teased this week. It's the first numbered entry in the franchise in 14 years. Since the time since then has been a mix of bolted on and standalone DLC. 4X Space nerds are happy about this one. I know my friend Zendru certainly is. There's no details on this yet, but it is on the way. Hollow Knight Silksong. This one was revealed during Xbox's Key 3 showcase to be a day one Game Pass release. That was a big score for Uncle Phil, since everyone assumed that this would be more of a Nintendo-led title. With confirmation that the title was headed to both Xbox and Switch, question marks swirled around the potential for a PlayStation release. Good news, those question marks are gone, replaced by big exclamation marks confirming that the game will arrive on PS4 and PS5. There is still no release date for any platform yet, but it's nice to know that no one has locked this up as a platform exclusive. EA and Koei Tecmo have teamed up to create what they're calling the next great hunting game. So this is with the Dynasty Warriors part of Koei Tecmo, and it looks to be EA signaling their intent to enter the Japanese market since they don't have too much of a presence there. When they say hunting, it's unlikely that they mean hunting deer with a rifle while wearing a funny hat. They likely mean something closer to Monster Hunter, which is one of the biggest franchises in the world, but especially in Japan. The only other thing we know about this title at this point is that it's set in fantasy feudal Japan, which doesn't give too much away, and we'll hear more about it later this month, so stay tuned, I guess. And finally, very unexpectedly, Konami are doing something good? I know, right? I had to double check, but yes, at least at face value, this appears to be good, because Konami are remastering Suikoden 1 and 2. The remasters aren't minor touch-ups either. They offer a significant uplift to environments, lighting, character models, and character portraits. This is almost exactly what an entire generation's worth of devoted Suikoden fans have been begging for, but never thought would happen. Both games are being made available as part of a bundle. It's shipping sometime in 2023, and you can wishlist it now on Steam. So what came out last week? Well, we briefly covered Metal Hellsinger's critic reviews. They all loved it. The good news is that everyone else seems to love it as well, with Steam reviews sitting at 97% overwhelmingly positive, with over 2,500 votes counted. That is an amazing result. Congratulations to The Outsiders on their debut title. Very much looking forward to seeing what the studio does next. World War I Isonzo is a competitive shooter set in the Italian Alps. It hit a bunch of platforms last week. Seems to be a bit of a divide between critics and fans on this one, as the title is sitting at a very positive 82% on Steam, but critics are less enthused, putting it at a fair 68 on OpenCritic. IGN scored this one a 7, saying, quote, "Isonzo is a well-made shooter that welcomes all comers to its gorgeous, mountainous World War I multiplayer battlefields, though a lot of that approachability and familiarity comes at the cost of period authenticity and distinctive gameplay," end quote. A few other reviews do point to some technical readiness issues, so if you're keen on this one, might be an idea to hold off for a few weeks until some patches roll through. And finally, the most wholesome release of the week was Return to Monkey Island, the first new Monkey Island game since 2009, and this one is basically the sequel to Monkey Island 2, which was released 31 years ago. That is fucking crazy. Some of the original creators are involved in this project, and it's wonderful to know that it's landed super well with critics, sitting at a mighty 87 on OpenCritic. Eurogamer recommended this one, calling it, quote, "a deft and heartfelt journey through nostalgia," end quote. GameSpot really liked it as well, scoring it a 9 and saying, quote, "Return to Monkey Island tells a wholesome and compelling tale of swashbuckling shenanigans that should appeal to anyone seeking a hearty adventure on the high seas," end quote. If you're interested, I also reviewed this one and I really liked it. I recommend it. If you'd like to check out that review, you'll find a link to it below the like button. So what's coming out this week? Well, a reminder that Deathloop is now available for Game Pass on PC, and for the first time, it's also available on Xbox consoles. Now, as you may recall, I'm not the biggest fan of Deathloop, but many other people are. In fact, it got more than a few Game of the Year nods last year. If you'd like to check it out for yourself on the cheap, then there's never been a better time to do that. Incidentally, if you want to check out my review on that one, I'll leave a link to that below the like button as well. HARDSPACE SHIPBREAKER was in early access for nearly 2 years before releasing recently to thunderous applause on Steam. It's making its way to consoles, and as of today, you'll be able to play it on both PS5 and Xbox Series devices. Gundam Evolution is that free-to-play Gundam meets Overwatch shooter thing. This one drops exclusively for the PC today. Potion Permit is a really nice one that I checked out during a Steam Next Fest a while back. It's a town life management game where you're an alchemist running a potion shop, helping people in town with their medicinal and alchemical needs. There's a bit of exploration, combat, and farming in the mix here as well, as is par for the course for the genre. Lovely art style and some top-shelf presentation across the board. This one is hitting all platforms tomorrow. No Place for Bravery is another indie title I played at Steam Next Fest a while ago. In addition to some great combat and meaty animations, this one has some really distinctive art and a nice color palette, at times reminding me of Titan Souls. If you're into this, it's hitting Switch and PC tomorrow. While we wait for the next Skate game, currently in development over at EA, perhaps you might be interested in Session Skate Sim. Angling for a more realistic take on the skating genre, this one uses the analog sticks to represent each of your feet on the board, and with some practice, you'll get a skating experience that feels a lot more immersive than the simple button presses the rest of the genre is reliant on. It's been in early access since 2019, so a huge amount of work has gone into this one, and it hits 1.0 on September 22nd, arriving on all platforms. Slime Rancher 2 is here this week after much hype and excitement. The indie darling stole many a slimy heart when it released back in 2017, and the sequel looks to be more of it, which everyone is 100% okay with. This one arrives on the 22nd, where it'll hit Xbox and PC, and yep, you guessed it, Day 1 Game Pass, baby. Here's one I'm pretty interested in, the Deerfield Chronicle. This is a real-time tactics game from Square Enix. At a time when tactics games are coming back into fashion, this one is looking really impressive with great visual presentation, voice acting, and apparently the combat is really great too. Reviews for this one are out, but this is like a 40-hour game, and the review code for this only went out late last week, so I don't know about that. I think I'll hold off on the review roundup for this one until next week. Either way, Deerfield hits all platforms on the 22nd. And finally, Shovel Knight Dig. This is a brand new Shovel Knight title developed by Nitrome in collaboration with Yacht Club Games. This one has a very different visual style compared to the original game, a little more next-gen, dare I say, but it's promising all the same classically inspired Shovel Knight action. This one is hitting Switch, PC, and iOS on September 23rd. Put this on your radar. This is Terra Invictus, and it's got an interesting story behind it. A long time ago, a group of modders made a modded campaign for XCOM Enemy Unknown. It was called The Long War, and it went on to become one of the best mods for not only XCOM, but any game really, hitting a quality bar for campaign mods rarely reached for any game outside of the Elder Scrolls or Fallout series. When work on that mod wrapped around 2015, the team decided to take their efforts to the next level, forming a studio called Pavonis Interactive and crowdfunding their first standalone release. This is Terra Invictus, a grand strategy title that plays to this studio's strengths since it centers on repelling an alien invasion. Now I'm going to admit, I played this one during the Steam Next Fest and I found it a little intimidating since the density of its systems and interface do require some study to get to grips with, but I'm not really the target market for this one as I'm not a big grand strategy dude. The general buzz around this one in that community though is very positive, and if you're into that sort of thing and you'd like to check it out, then the good news is it hits very soon, September 27th in fact. If you'd like to wishlist it, I'll leave a link to it over on my Steam Curator page, which also has links to all of the other Put This On Your Radar stuff I've covered recently. You'll find a link to all of that below the like button. Sort of free stuff time now, and not a huge amount to shout out this week. Very bare bones indeed. Epic still got us covered though. Right now you can grab Spirit of the North, which is an exploration-focused adventure game, as well as The Captain, which is a point-and-click adventure game. On the 23rd, two excellent offerings become available. The first is Ark, not the most accessible survival game on the market, but certainly one of the most expansive, feature-rich, and modded of the lot. Check it out, but if you're properly interested, then be sure to do some research because there's a lot that goes into playing this one properly. The other title is Gloomhaven. This is a digital adaptation of a very popular board game, and it's meant to be great. Since it spent a bunch of time in early access sanding away all those rough edges, you can get it later this week for free, thanks to Uncle Tim. Remember to say thank you. Only other thing to shout out this week are those new additions to Game Pass, which were teased both during and after the Tokyo Game Show. I've already mentioned Deathloop, now available for both console and PC. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is now on there as well, as is Ni no Kuni, the delightful Studio Ghibli JRPG, which I highly recommend. Looking forward, it's a pretty strong month for the service. Grounded launches next week into 1.0, and that's sure to be great if the early access window is anything to go by. Moonscars is a 2D Souls-like that I've been playing through lately and really enjoying. Slime Rancher 2 and HARDSPACE Shipbreaker I mentioned earlier. And at the end of the month, Valheim will arrive for PC Game Pass. The console port is still coming sometime next year, but those of you on PC who haven't yet experienced this masterpiece, boy, are you in for a good time. This was number 2 on my Game of the Year list last year, my favorite survival game alongside Subnautica, and it's just an amazing time. Grab some mates and be prepared to lose 50 to 100 hours easy, and then sit back and wait like 3 or 4 years for more updates, because they don't come very fast. Often when video game leaks occur, they're blamed on disgruntled employees, but that's usually not the case. Most of the time, the myth of the disgruntled employee is just that, a myth. And that may be the case here in our feel-good story for the week, but maybe not. There's a game called Wizard 101, and it's a small MMORPG mainly targeted at kids, so it's generally pretty wholesome, free of profanity, G-rated, etc. Not so on one fateful day last week, when all of a sudden in-game dialogue boxes appeared for all players logged in that read things such as, and I do have to issue a content warning here, so please click off if you're at all squeamish. Ready? Okay, here we go. Dick and balls. I know, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. A follow-up message took things a step further while also hinting that this may be the work of a rogue employee. The next world is my boss's asshole. Okay? Sensing that the jig might be up soon, the next dialogue box prophetically read, Bradley, come down to my office this instant, the CEO. This was my favorite of the lot though. Email support@wizard101 so I can get a raise. Let us know how that went, mate. I'd be really interested to know if that's an effective strategy. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the week in video games. It was an unexpectedly huge one, especially after last week, which is like its own mini E3. I've got some previews rolling out over the next few days. Stuff I can't talk about yet, but if you're keen to see them, or you just want more lukewarm news takes, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and ding the notification bell. Same goes for the Frames Per Second podcast. Don't forget to check that out on your platform of choice. Link below. Drop a like on this video, would you kindly, since that does help me out in a very big way. And if you really want to show some love, maybe check out this week's sponsor, Manscaped. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Peace. Gentlemen, all men strive for gold in their life, right? Gold medals, gold watches, gold members. However, there is a certain type of man who goes the extra mile. He walks with the confidence of an eagle and giggles in the face of danger. He is big and hairless, and when he unzips his pants, they see platinum? That's right. Manscaped would like to announce that their best and biggest ultimate hygiene bundle, the Platinum Package 4.0, is now available in Australia. The Manscaped Platinum Package 4.0 is the one-stop shop for the man who deserves it all. They designed this package to allow you to fully align your entire hygiene routine with elite products. Inside this Platinum Package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Ultra Premium Body Wash, Ultra Premium 2-in-1 Shampoo and Conditioner, Ultra Premium Deodorant, Crop Preserver Anti-Chafing Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Ball Spray Toner, Anti-Chafing Boxes, and the Shed Travel Bag to hold all your goods while traveling. First off, the Lawnmower 4.0. Manscaped say this thing is the greatest ball trimmer ever invented, and since they're pretty much the only entity who specializes in ball trimming, I'm inclined to believe them. These people know balls. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has a 400K LED spotlight when you need a more precise shave. Ever wanted to spotlight your junk? Well, now you can. Please use responsibly. In addition to shaving, you can now completely upgrade your shower routine with the Ultra Premium Body Wash and Ultra Premium 2-in-1 Shampoo and Conditioner. You'll have your skin and hair feeling hydrated and smelling fresh. Don't forget to apply their aluminium-free Ultra Premium deodorant for that cologne quality scent on the go. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts in their Platinum Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxes and the Shed Travel Bag. Bring your comfort and your boxes to another level. The Platinum Package 4.0 covers all bases from head to toe, the best bang for your shebang. It's time to take care down there, so go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the offer code SKILLUP. That's 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com using offer code SKILLUP. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Thanks to them for sponsoring the video, and thank you for watching it.